Hi, boys and girls. All right, we're going to review the things that you had to do for the guest branch. I just learned how to make these videos, so next time I'll make it before you do all the work. But now that I know how, I'll be able to do that for you. All right, so the first story you read was the guest ranch. So on day 1, you should have made a prediction chart like this, okay? When we make a prediction, we take a guess. So it's okay if you got this part wrong, the make section, this column, because you don't know, you haven't read it. Okay, a prediction is just when you take a guess what's going to happen next. So you make your prediction what's going to happen, okay? But you'd want to do this as you read. So when you're reading, you're going to get more and more information, and you can kind of take educated guesses to see what you think will happen next based on the context clues, right? The things that we read in the story that kind of give us little clues in our mind to what might happen. Okay, the next column says revise. All right, so when we revise, we make corrections, right? So we would make any corrections to the predictions that we had in the revise column. And then we'll put a check mark to confirm if our prediction was correct, okay? So really this revise column is if you changed any thoughts that you had based on the reading. So if at first you thought something might happen, but then you read something else and you don't think that anymore, then you can revise it, okay? And confirming it just means if you were right about your prediction or you weren't. And it's okay if you weren't, right? That's fine. And then you're going to write what actually happened right here. All right, so that was for day 1. Day 2, ooh, explanatory writing, my favorite. All right, so the guest ranch, we're still on the guest ranch, right? This question for your writing is, how does the setting influence Zach? So you're gonna write, you should have drawn a 3 chart, right? And done a writing, answer, evidence, explain. And explain how the setting, right, where something is, the time, right, the location, where a story takes place is the setting. Okay, so how does the setting that Zach is in, where he is at the ranch, influence him? Remember at the beginning, he doesn't really love the idea of not using his phone, right? And his mom says he needs to go out and have fun on the ranch. Okay, and how does that change? Influence means to change. How does that change what he thinks or what he does? Okay, the other thing you have to do on day 2 is this comma and compound word worksheet. Okay. So when you're doing this, it says place commas after each introductory word or phrase in the sentence below. Then write 2 of your own sentences about the story using introductory words or phrases. So an introductory word or phrase is kind of like the key words we use when we do our 3 chart writing. Okay, so number 1 says, on the way to Cottonwood, Zach was feeling uneasy. So the phrase on the way to Cottonwood, that's kind of a introductory phrase. It kind of introduces where you are in the sentence. Okay? On the way to Cottonwood, it kind of puts a picture in your head what they're doing, so then you would put a comma. Anytime we pause when we speak, that's usually where a comma would go, right? If I read the sentence, on the way to Cottonwood, Zach was feeling uneasy. See how I paused? That's where the comma would belong. Instead of saying, on the way to Cottonwood, Zach was feeling uneasy. That's hard to understand, right? We pause so that it's very clear, all right? And then you'll just create your own at the bottom. And if it helped you, remember those keywords from our 3 charts. All right, compound words. We know compound words. You might forget that term, but definitely know it. So the example that they use on this worksheet is doorknob, okay? Doorknob, 2 parts that come together to make one word, okay? Door by itself is a word and knob is a word, but when we put them together, that's a compound word, okay? 2 parts, 2 different words that come together to make one word, okay? I'll let you guys figure those out. That's kind of fun to do. All right. Hyphenated compound words, that just means there's a little line right between them. Okay. Just explain it up here. Okay, so for example, right-handed would be a compound word because it has a hyphen between them. So you would write right-handed like this. Okay, see this little piece is a hyphen. All right. And then you would go and do your next writing, which is about character change. And that's for day 3. All right. So on day 3, we have this character change graphic organizer. Okay. This is really similar to your 3 chart, right? Okay. We have answer, evidence, and explain. Okay. They want you to address the beginning of the story, the middle of the story, and the end. All right. If this chart is confusing to you and you would rather just draw your own 3 chart, that's okay. Just make sure you staple it or put it with this paper. And we've done that before when we've talked about the one and only Ivan, right? We've talked about how Ivan changed from the beginning to the end of the story. Now you're just going to do that same thing, but with the story, The Guest Ranch, and talk about how Zach has changed from the beginning to the end of the story. All right. On day 4, you have a narrative writing, okay? So instead of answer, evidence, explain, we're going to do a narrative, right? That means we're telling a story. So that's events, right? We talk about events, and then we talk about details, right? And then dialogue. Okay, so your events, remember, is wish, problem, solution. So the first paragraph is going to be your wish. What did the character want, right? What was the problem in the story? That'll be your second paragraph. And what was the solution will be your third. Okay? 3 paragraphs is fine. We don't need to do 4. 3 is okay. And day 5. Woohoo! Finishing the guest ranch on day 5. You're just going to do your comprehension quiz. Parents, don't let them fool you. We do this all the time. Right, boys and girls? So for each question, okay, we're going back to the text, right? You have to go back to the text. If you have a blue crayon at home, you can use a blue crayon to underline your evidence from the story. And families, all that means is when we're reading our question, we'll just think, oh, wait, I think I remember where that answer was in the text. Or if you don't, we just go back to the text and reread, and we take a blue crayon, or you could use a pencil or whatever you have, and just underline what part of the story guides you to this answer. And we've talked about that it doesn't always say the exact words that you need, but it might give you a clue to what the answer is. Okay? All right. That's the guest ranch. Okay. Talk soon.